Welcome to the stream and let's get started. So, actually, just as I was waiting for this stream to go live, a new update actually came, and that is that the Ukrainians finally started their Kherson offensive again here around the Dujani, Milov area, so here to the north, meaning that I'm going to be making an update. And since I have the live stream at the same time, I will start off by showing you how I make a video and record the video while I'm live. And then I'll upload it while I'm live, after which I will do the Q&A while I'm live. So yeah, welcome to the stream and hello everyone, and let's get started. So first of all, let's look at Telegram because they usually have the most news. Okay, so none of my A-level sources are reporting that the offensive has started. However, a lot of B-level sources, as we can see right here. That's one. And I will put this on edit mode. So around Dujani, I think reported. And in this open area here to the north, I think reported. We'll put the link in. Hello, Unsaturated Fat. Hello, Mohammed Kachena. Hello, bro. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam. Hello, Uncle Joe. Hello, Vin Diesel. And hello, Journey Billiards. And welcome to everyone who's come to my stream so far. Okay, so that is the first source. Then we have the second source right here. And there's even a third source. Which is right above here. So 3 sources reporting on the same thing, and they all B-level sources. So I'll report on it. Hello, Morton. And hello, JK. All right. So we now see that much. That means that this front line is going to be something like this. And I will point to a interlap here. So this is not clear exactly how the front line is looking like now, but it seems that what I usually do is just I put it onwards to where the attacking direction will be, and if the village is captured or not, that is determined once I have once I've completely finished it. Yeah. From 3K to 30K, we have grown a lot. Yes, this is insane how I've reached 30,000 subscribers. At the start, I think I've said this many times before, but I started this July, so it's not even been 3 months. And once I started, I was thinking that by the end of the year, by the 31st of December, I would probably have 100 subscribers. Those are my expectations. So you've blown my expectations away. Okay, so with this, we now have that. And then there was also this information here. FUS tank was about 2 battalions. So this is about 5 to 10,000. Oh, 10 to about 8 to 15,000 soldiers. Because the range is from 3 to 8,000 soldiers for every battalion. So actually 6 to 16,000 soldiers. But it's usually around the 80% mark. 80% of 8,000 is about 6,400. That's 12,000 soldiers. And it's this direction. Okay, so I now have updated the map. I'll go to my preview mode, collapse the map legend. And then I'll open my OBS, which is already open as I'm streaming. So what I'll do now, could the B-level sources be just parroting each other? I don't believe so, because usually they post the sources a bit later. However, this guy, he posts sources from local areas. And this guy, as you can see, he did had similar map. No, it's not even the same map. So it is because these are different maps and different timings. And as you can see here, this is their source. So there's a lot of different sources here. Hello Shetan, and hello H2 Always, and hello JaiPuGeogos1. Hello, that's because your work is informative, which makes it interesting. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so yeah, I'll then start my recording, and I'll do exactly as I do when I record a video. So that clear my throat so I don't cough during the video. Hello and welcome to another update. In this one, there's reports that the Ukrainians have started a counteroffensive around the Kherson region. We see that they have started attacking the villages of Dujani, and this area here they are advancing towards Sukhanove and Milov. And actually Milov, because someone commented that that is exactly how you pronounce it, Milove, something around that, not Milov. Anyways, that's their target, it seems. And the strength of the forces that we're seeing here is about 2 battalions in size. And with the estimate of about 80% strength, we could say that there's about 12,000 Ukrainian soldiers in this war, in this battle. And we see that they're attacking towards Dujani as well as Milove. So somewhere in this direction, and they will most likely try to advance down this road here that we can see. We can see that there's a bunch of valleys, so most likely they'll try to go around it from this area here, as this is an open field and there's a valley to each side, while they attempt to attack these villages here at the bank of the Dnipro River by attacking this northern area here. So by this logic, we see that the Ukrainians are doing a two-sided assault from the east and the west, where they try to avoid these valleys and go around them into these open areas to attack the villages of Milove, Kacherivka, and Seblukivka, as they try to take Dujani first, which will allow them to pass through. There's also these valleys here that they have most likely control of, which means that they are attacking from these areas here, going down the road and trying to control this valley here, which will cut off the Russian soldiers here if they have any. Otherwise, they will just be taking them directly. So that's the update on the Kherson front. There's been no other updates on the other fronts, so that's going to be it for this update. Thanks for watching and have a great day. There we go. And then now is the time where I go to open my editing software. Hi, what's new today? You've just seen the video before I uploaded it. Hello, that's because your work is... so B is a confidence rating, not a category. It is a category in which I have determined that a source is most likely within. Hello, Weep, I have to go and take care of something, but I'll see you in this. Do you see this in replay? Well, thank you very much for coming, and I hope you enjoy the replay. Hello, Weep, I have to... will Russia start the offensive? Okay, that's for later. What about Route 66? How long will it take? Not really sure. Is it true that the Russian Ministry of Defense is trying to hunt down Ryber and the other pro-Russian bloggers? I have no info on that. Anyways, now that I have done this, I will take the file, place it here, and then I usually look for any gaps where I breathe into the microphone or cough or do anything like that to cut it off. But most likely, I can just upload it as it is, since I've just done it here. And I'll just do a thumbnail then, which I usually do this way, where I zoom in on the area where it is about, take a screenshot. This one is going to be somewhere around this. The size is 1280 by 720. But I also have to do the lines, which I use in my thumbnail. There we go. Screenshot. 1280 by 720. By the way, is the sound okay? I haven't checked before the stream started. And I gotta open my editing, picture editing software, which is free to download. And there we go. Sound is good. Thank you very much. Okay, then my YouTube file folder, screenshot. There we go. And since my face cam is on in this video, considering I did it while live, there we go. I will put my face on the thumbnail as well. So, which face should I use? Which of these faces should I use for the thumbnail? I guess since the Ukrainians have finally started their offensive, we could probably use something around the lines of... there we go, this one. Then I scale it. About 400. There we go. The offensive has started, Commander. And then I override screenshot. And the thumbnail is done. Then I upload the video. The shotgun. I literally made a video like yesterday or the day before where I sat there preparing for an offensive. So being shocked doesn't make sense there. Show recordings. This one, upload it. Okay, what's the title? Ukraine, no. New Kherson offensive started. Oh. Okay, let's do a competition. Who can figure out the title? Let's go, 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 go. Title, title, title. Come on, go, 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 go. Thank you very much, Morten Prens, for the 100 Danish crowns donation. Thank you very much. Hey Weep, really like following your videos. Thank you very much. Hi there, and thank you for the regular and fair update. I would like to add that size regular Ukraine battalions between 900 and 2,500 men. Okay, so 900 and 2,500 men. Wait, that's like no one. That's like barely anyone. What? Okay, I will have to. Wait, was it a battalion or brigade? Let me. Second. Two battalions, and you say a battalion is okay. So there's like 4,000 men, not 12,000. Ukraine battalion size. Blah blah blah. That's a brigade. Up to 1,000 soldiers. Okay, so I'll probably say 1,600. But you say up to 2,500 specifically for the Ukrainians. So about 4,000 men? Well then, I'll have to redo my my video then. Hello and welcome back to another update. In this one, there's report that the Ukrainian counteroffensive has... See, there we go. I made a mistake. I said counteroffensive, but it's an offensive according to history legends. Offensives are when you do an offensive operation. A counteroffensive is when you return a offensive that has just happened. So if the Ukrainians do this offensive and the Russians do a counteroffensive if they attack right after. But since the front line has been stable for a couple of days, there's been no offensives, then this offensive is an offensive, not a counteroffensive. So now I have to redo. And someone keeps commenting, please zoom out so we can get the greater picture. All right, there we go. Hello and welcome back to another update. In this one, there's a report that the Ukrainians have started an offensive in the Kherson region. We see that the Ukrainians have gathered 2 battalion-sized groupings of about 2,000 soldiers each, which means 4,000 soldiers, 2,000 towards Duchany and this eastern area, and 2,000 towards Milove, which according to the comment is how you pronounce the city village of what I earlier called My Love, which I prefer as a name, My Love. This village is My Love. So the 2,000 strong battalion is here to the east, where they are attempting to storm Duchany, take that. And it's unclear how many troops Russia has, if they have any, in these villages here, as well as Duchany, as it is a contested area. They could be abandoned or they could be garrisoned, I'm not sure. But it seems that the Ukrainians' plan is to go here from the southern area towards the east, and then push southwards towards the villages of Zabluivka, as well as Kacherivka, and take that as there's this valley that that splits the 2 areas in 2. And then they will be going down this road towards the village of Milove. And at the same time, they are attacking from this open field here, which is to avoid these valleys that we see here. There's this one and second valley. And then they will go around it towards the village of Milove. Combined with an attack here from the east, then the village of Milove will be attacked from 2 directions. So the general situation here is that the Ukrainians are attempting a 2-sided attack towards the Russian positions and take the village of Milove. And the significance of this village is that it will cut off the road between the southern area here and the front line over here, which means that if the Ukrainians manage to capture this village, they can go down this road towards the villages of Borosevske and the surrounding villages here from that direction, and the Russians will not have any escape through a road, as the only road here is a very, very small one which connects these villages, unlike these roads that are a bit bigger and more, there's cement and so on. While these are just countryside roads. And if you've lived in the countryside, or if you've been in the countryside, you know that countryside roads are awful, especially in winter seasons. Anyways, so with that, the Ukrainians will have an advantage when they are going to attack this northern area here. And they are also open to the possibility of attacking further south or westwards. And they can combine that with an attack from Berezkinske, where they break through and take down the road, and then they can connect and capture all of these villages by an encirclement. So that's the update for today. There's no updates on the other regions. Thank you very much for watching and have a great day. Adios. There we go. This one I have to actually edit because I've done some mistakes in my speaking. So let's open Vegas. And I have to delete the previous upload before it goes live. Delete forever. Delete draft video. All right. And let's see. Has to feed the algorithm. Exactly. Go for My Love. Hello to all from Tampere, Finland. Very welcome from Finland. Another kamikaze offensive. I mean, if that's your perspective. Checking previous titles. Is Russia withdrawing troops from Kherson? Actually, there's been a lot of reports that the Russians are pulling back the civilians from Kherson. So I could actually... No, a regiment is... Honestly, I'm not sure. I'm way too confused, and I'll just leave it as it is. Anyways, I think something... what was it? I think the 2000 number is kind of in the middle ground. Also, the names of battalions and regiments and so on is very confusing right now, as there is a lot of changes due to the war. It's very unorganized, disorganized, especially in the Ukrainian army, because it's very decentralized. So they don't usually report exactly how many people there are and so on. So generally speaking, it is more unclear exactly how large these groupings are, as they could combine a couple of battalions and call it one battalion, despite it being much larger than a battalion. And the opposite could happen, where a battalion has been depleted of soldiers and they'll still be calling it a battalion, despite only having like 100 soldiers. But anyways, this is going to be it. And then we're going to be listening to my voice as I correct it. Usually what I do is I look for these areas like this one where there's a gap, and then I listen to that. This one, there's a report that the Ukrainians have started an offensive in the Kherson region. We see that the Ukrainians have gathered 2 battalion-sized groupings of about 2,000 soldiers each, which means 4,000 soldiers, 2,000 towards Tuchani and this eastern area, and 2,000 towards Milove, which according to the comment is how you pronounce the city village of what I earlier called My Love, which I prefer as a name, My Love. This village is My Love. So the 2,000 strong battalion is here to the east, where they are attempting to storm Tuchani, take that. And it's unclear how many troops Russia has, if they have any, in these villages here, as well as Tuchani, as it is a contested area. They could be abandoned, or they could be... Yeah, let's skip to this part. There's this valley that that splits the 2 areas in 2. And then there will be... Okay, so here we can do this, where remove the part where I repeat myself, and then this gap where I just breathe very loudly into the microphone. Here is this one and second valley. Milove. And at the same... Let's cut this as well. Alright. So the general situation... There we go. I think that was it, but let's go a quick through here. Road here. There's a very, very... And then finally here. Awful. Especially in winter seasons. Anyways, so, countryside road. All right. So that's the update for... Okay, so there was this final part that I wanted to also record, which is a quick... Here. There has also been a lot of reports suggesting that Russia is actually trying to evacuate the city of Kherson and pull out all of the civilians from the city, which may indicate that they are ready to abandon the city and abandon this bridgehead they have across the Dnieper River. And this would actually make sense because they seem to be continuously under pressure with a very strained logistical... It's very strained logistics. And at the same time, they always have Belarus that they can invade through, which means that the Dnieper River, even though it may prove to be a good defensive position, they can always go around it through Belarus. So they are always ready to abandon Kherson if they see the situation to be like that. However, with the large population of Kherson, it is very difficult to evacuate it. So it's going to be very interesting to see if they will manage to do anything. The Ukrainians are saying that they are not evacuating, but forcefully deporting all the civilians in the city. but the reality is yet to be seen, and that is for the future to decide. Then I'll put that into the editing. Put this in here. No, it's not this one. It's this one. We move it here, and then we look at the parts. Only trying to evacuate the city of Kherson and pull strained logistical. It's very. There you go. It's very strained logistics, and at the same time, in the city. But the reality is yet to. There we go. There we go. Put this up. And that's it for this video. Whatever. And then we render it. 1080p, 30 FPS. There we go. Okay, so other than that, I think I figured out the title. Russia abandoning Kherson as the Ukrainians restart their new offensive. There we go. Clickbait as hell. Okay, so with this, the video will be up in like half an hour at 11 a.m. my time. And then on top of that, we can now move on to the Q&A. As the video renders and then I upload it and so on, they'll happen simultaneously. Okay, so first question. New German missile systems, how effective are they and likely rushing to counter them? Okay, so Germany, France, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, the United States all reported that they would send missile systems as well as missile ammunition. The Netherlands, for example, only ammunition, no missile systems, rest are sending systems. However, most of these systems, the German system is a long-range anti-air surface-to-air missile system, which has a range of 15 kilometers to the air and like 30 kilometers wide. Basically, they're trying to shoot down missiles. And the same with the American system, it's more short to medium range, but they also are for the missiles. They are shooting to shoot down the missiles, while the French are actually sending flak guns, which are for the drones of the what's it called? For the Susa drones that the Russians bought from Iran. So generally speaking, these anti-air systems are for the missiles and the drones. And how will Russia counteract them? They will try to rocket strike the anti-air systems. Or maybe send some planes to bomb them. But generally, they will be trying to destroy the anti-air systems. They'll be the new targets. And they will, how effective they will be, I'm not sure. We will see as it happens. Okay, the daily videos with the back and forth control of the same territory suggest this is a quagmire for now for both sides, has a World War I stalemate feel to it. Will it break decisively for one side before winter or ever? Okay, so this really depends on how much each side is willing to lose. If you're not willing to lose more soldiers, then you'll end up in this situation where there's barely any movement. The Russians are very scared of losing personnel, so they don't do any offensive operations. They're just moving very slowly as they bomb everything. While the Ukrainians are willing to go on these offensive operations as they believe that this will be better in the longer run, as they achieve success in their counteroffensives. We've seen them with the Kharkiv and Kherson, where they achieve partial success or major success in Kharkiv, partial success in Kherson so far, but possibly major success soon, as there's the reports that the Russians are actually evacuating Kherson, which would mean that the Ukrainians have successfully captured the whole Kharkiv region, as well as the city of Kherson, which they have been fighting for a very long time. So speaking as that, I would say there's not a World War I stalemate. The World War I stalemate was very different. They spent a year to move about 10 kilometers. We've seen the Ukrainians and even the Russians are moving faster than the World War I stalemate in Bakhmut. So will it break decisively for one side before winter or whatever? I think so. I think that at some point one side will say, this is too much, I'm not willing to fight anymore. And then the other side will break through, or they will go to the negotiation table. All right, let's go to the upload so that I can upload this video, and then we'll continue with the Q&A. Here. Okay, the title was Russia posed to abandon Kherson as the Ukrainians engage in another offensive. And then the same thumbnail as earlier. And we will have everything for the upload. Then I just need to schedule it. Public schedule, there we go. To 11 p.m. 11 a.m. I mean. And that's today, there we go. Everything is a-okay. New video. Okay, so next question. There is some news about Russian forces near Belarus border. So could Russia do an all-out in winter? Yes, there is indeed reports of Belarus gathering, or Russia gathering forces joined with Belarus by the border of Ukraine. So technically, yes, they could do an all-out offensive. I made a video, partial mobilization in-depth analysis, Russia plan and Ukraine counter plan. So you can check that out to answer this question. Weather is changing quickly in Ukraine. Do you think we will see more drone combat after the success of the S-136 and others? How fast do you think they can be produced? So drones are, in a sense, very easy and very cheap to produce. So it depends on how many workers they have. This is why I say that the cooperation of China and India is very necessary, because they have, especially China, they have enough industry to just mass produce these kind of drones and just completely turn the tide of the war in favor of whoever they want to produce for. But so far they haven't been willing to do so. But that could change this Sunday, which is tomorrow, as the Chinese embassy, or not embassy, what's it called? The Chinese, whatever, the 2,000 members of the Chinese Communist Party go for a meeting they do every 5 years to choose the new leader and other stuff. And I think if Xi Jinping is re-chosen or re-elected, then he will be more interested in participating in these foreign affairs, and being more aggressive in the foreign policies, such as possibly invading Taiwan and stuff like that. And if they do that, then there will be a direct conflict with NATO or actually not NATO, but the American Pacific Alliance, which is the United States, Japan, South Korea, Australia, and so on. By being in direct conflict with them, then they are the enemy of the enemy is my friend relationship with Russia, which will allow them to increase their cooperation, and that will allow the Russians to ask the Chinese to produce some weapons for them, and then of course they'll be paying them back. But considering that they're in direct conflict, the Chinese will have no reason not to help the Russians with the production. I'm watching the production, I forgot, sorry. No orange, thanks. No prop, bro. We see the big problems for the Russians because of bad logistics, and this 300,000 new soldiers in a new big number to support. and I don't see that they can support so many with ammunition supply and so on. Okay. For the front line, the Shepherd is very good against helicopters. Yeah, I think generally against helicopters and also drones, they're really good against drones as well. With the radar systems that they also are receiving from France, they'll be able to spot the drones and shoot them down with the flak guns. Yeah, okay. So, weather is changing quickly in... Okay, never mind. Could you please post the time you will start your stream so we don't miss it? Well, that sucks. I posted it too late. What is something you have learned about this war so far that surprised or shocked you? Well, honestly, something that surprised me is two things. First is the ability of Ukraine and the support of NATO to Ukraine is way beyond what I expected. I thought the Russians would win quickly and would overpower the Ukrainians, but it seems that the Ukrainians have insanely well trained their army compared to 2014. In 2014, Ukraine had about 5,000 professional soldiers, and at the start of the war, they had 200,000. So I expected like most of them to be useless, as they had just expanded their army this drastically. This is like a 2,000% increase or something like that. So it's an insane increase, and somehow they made it work. So that's what I was surprised about. And something that shocked me is that the war is generally much, much milder than what we have seen in previous wars, like the Second World War or the American invasion in the Middle East or the Vietnam War and so on. There's been no chemical weapons used. The energy grid has barely been touched. The previous days we've seen about 30% destruction of the energy grid, which is much less than what we saw in, for example, the American invasion of Iraq. They completely destroyed the whole energy grid on the very first day. So they had no... they weren't holding back at all, while we see the Russians barely touching the energy grid before the past couple of days. So yeah, that severely shocked me, because I thought that the Russians would completely destroy all the infrastructure in Ukraine on the first few days, but they barely even touched it. Where are you from? Where do you live now? What is your professional and educational background? Okay, so where I'm from Denmark. Where do I live? I live in Denmark. What is your professional educational background? So I don't really have a professional background yet. Well, I guess my professional background would be my YouTube career. My educational background is that I'm self-taught. I come from a military family. My family has been in the military a lot of generations going back for over 200 years. We participated in both world wars. We old areas. We fought the Prussians. We've even got, like, my family history goes back 1,000 years. We were insurrectionists who killed people and so on thousands of years ago. So yeah, generally speaking, I am in a family that is very tied to the idea of war. And I have drawn that interest to myself. So throughout my life, I've been focused a lot on these things. I have read a lot of history about war. I have researched war. I've researched tactics. I've read about all of these things. I've not been in the military because the time I should be in the military was during COVID, and then it was delayed, and then it just hasn't happened. So I don't know. But yeah, I'm mostly self-taught. I have done extensive reading and so on about military affairs, military history, and history in general. So that's my background. How much time do you spend a day checking the news about the war? The real question would be, how much time do I spend doing anything other than that? And that is not a lot of time, because I spend most of my time looking at updates about the war. Generally, I do something, and on my second screen, I have two screens. On my second screen, I always have something about the news so that I know it exactly when it happens. When I'm outside, I usually check my phone every like 5 to 10 minutes. I'm addicted to reading about the news, so I always check, and then I upload as soon as I confirm something. Looking at the way and pace the war is going, is it possible for Ukraine to more territories, and can they take the Donbass? Okay, so this is impossible to figure out because this depends on a lot of factors that are undetermined right now. How effective will the Russian volunteers, mobilized soldiers be? How many are they actually going to be sending? How well supplied are they going to be? All of these things. And at the same time, will the Russian strategy change? Will the Ukrainian strategy change? Will the West continue to supply weapons? So many factors that are completely undecided makes it impossible to determine this. But whether or not it is possible, a month ago I would say no. Today I will say yes. And is it likely? For the Donbass, all of the Donbass, no. I don't think it's likely. But Kherson, yes, it's very likely. And maybe Zaporizhia, somewhere in the middle ground. Crimea, I don't think so. I think if the Ukrainians are close to taking Crimea, I think Russia will probably use nukes. I think it's very unlikely, but I think if Russia is going to use nukes, it's going to be when Crimea is in danger. So I think Ukraine will actually stop before engaging with Crimea and try to reach a peace settlement, because I don't think they want to risk Russia using nukes, because they realize it is a real possibility that Russia will use them in case that they are losing. But yeah, as I said, there's a lot of undetermined factors, and because of those, I will not be doing a concrete prediction about whether or not they can. I think we should focus on the front line for now, and that is Kherson. And I think, is it possible for Ukraine to take Kherson? Yes, it is. My questions: at what point does NATO step in with boots on the ground? Is there a line in the sand that Russia has to cross before NATO commits its own soldiers to the fight, or has that line already been crossed? I suppose that both questions are the same, but asking them both might bring different answers forward. Okay, so I think the red line NATO has before boots on the ground is nuclear attack. If Russia uses a nuclear attack in Ukraine, then then NATO will send boots on the ground. I think that is to prevent further attacks of nuclear weapons, or to take advantage of the use of nuclear weapons, or generally just to deter the fact that Russia could use nuclear weapons in Ukraine. Because in case they use boots on the ground, then Russia will either have to do an instant ceasefire or go to direct war with the West. And direct war with the West means nuclear war. And I say that because both leaders have said so. Russia says if NATO gets directly involved with Ukraine, they will use nukes. And the West has said if Russia nukes nukes, then they will respond. So nuclear war. And no, that line has not been crossed. When Russia will start counteroffensive, they will start if they are able to do so, and that depends exactly, as I said earlier, about how well trained, how efficient will they be, and so on. A lot of things, a lot of factors that it's undetermined still, so I cannot tell you when they will. Will Belarus invade from the north? Again, same factors, so I cannot answer that either. So that's it for this Q&A. All right, I'll go through the comments, and if I have nothing else, then I'll just end the stream here. Are you at all worried about revealing the location of UA troops or the direction of the attack? Do you take that into account in your videos? Most of my sources are actually pro-Russian sources, and that is because the pro-Ukrainian sources usually report much later than the Russian sources, as the Ukrainians do not want to report quickly on their offensives, as you mentioned, revealing their location of their troops. So when I report from a pro-Russian source, that means the Russians have realized that they are pro-Ukrainian troops, which is why the Ukrainian sources usually are later. And in the opposite situation, the Russians are generally not afraid because they know that the Ukrainians know what they are reporting. Generally speaking, my information comes after both militaries know what is happening. So I am the last one to know in this spectrum, so I'm generally not scared that anyone would figure out the position of any troops based on me, because both sides will know before I know. Russian 57mm anti-air guns were seen being moved to the front. It must have some use against drones with time-fused shells, most likely. RF are outnumbered 3-1 in Kherson region, right? I think somewhere around that, 2-1 or 3-1. Most of them are mercenaries. Not sure where you're talking about. India is committing to the Quad. Yeah, we have many alliances in the sea. Okay, so India is committing to neutrality, that is for sure. India has not chosen a side, and I will guarantee that. They are both in the, as you said, committing to the Quad, but they're also committing to the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which is anti-Quad. So they are trying to play both sides to always come out on top. The UAF has collected a lot of Russian military technology during the war. Is there anything special that you would highlight that NATO in particular would like to get and reverse engineer it? The T90. I think I'm not sure if there was just the T90 or the T90M, but the Ukrainians captured one in Kharkiv, and it is already in the United States soil. So the United States have their hands on a T90 or T90M and are trying to reverse engineer it. They probably paid a hefty sum to Ukraine for it. UK and France are also EU allies in the Pacific. Plus, there's the 5-power and Article 5 type alliance between Australia, UK, and New Zealand, Singapore, Malaysia. Of course, AUKUS is making PRC very upset. So yeah, there's a lot of geopolitical play in the Pacific. So yeah, generally a war between China and the United States will generally mean a world war, because everything will fall apart. Once superpowers fight each other. Yes, I was shocked by utter failure of initial RFA attack in the north. This is a limited war so far, indeed. Russians have so much gear in between AK-47 and nukes. You are skipping a shit ton of arsenal in between and before nukes. Yes, because I say that, as I mentioned, nukes is the red line, and that red line is only going to be touched once Crimea is under attack, because Russia needs that. Crimea is a lifeline for Russia. Without Crimea, Russia is utterly in huge trouble, because the military port of Sevastopol is extremely essential for Russia's naval presence in the Mediterranean, Black Sea, and for their own national security. So without Crimea, Russia will cease to exist, is the idea in Russia. And under the doctrine, if they feel like their territorial integrity is in danger, then they are allowed to use nukes. Of course, I believe that they will use a lot more weapons before it reaches that point, but as I said, it is undetermined exactly how much and how far and so on, so it is difficult to predict. Which is why I say it's unlikely that they will use nukes. I guess United States could have T-90 also from Iraq Army, while it ain't the most advanced tank after T-14. Yeah, sure. Alright, so I think that is going to be it for this live stream. Thank you all for watching and have a great day.